Peace and love, everyone. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday is the final Sunday of the year. We are just a few days left in 2025, a few days left until 2026. What a time to be alive. We are in the holiday season still. We are still in the season of celebrating love and celebrating light. And this is Kwanzaa. We are in the season, the days of Kwanzaa, 7 beautiful principles for Black people um, to just remember and to embrace and to live our lives with more intention. Today is Ujima. Ujima is collective work and responsibility. And we're going to get into that. That is the topic of discussion today. Today's topic is embracing the 7 principles of Kwanzaa as a way of life. Embracing the 7 principles of Kwanzaa as a way of life. And ever since I was younger and made aware of Kwanzaa, I would always ask myself, right, um, why is this just a 7 day thing at the end of the year, right? End of the year going into the new year. Why is this not something that is practiced and taught and embraced and highlighted throughout the year, right? And I think a few years ago I saw an organization do Kwanzaa in the summer, right? And I was like, that's dope. That's dope, right? To remind people to relight the fuel, right? Because one thing I've learned is during this season, Black people are Black, right? A lot of them, not everybody, of course. Some people are like, I don't celebrate that Black stuff, and it's like, okay, but those who do celebrate, acknowledge, highlight, embrace, they do it. They wear the clothing. They go to the events, right? They make the gifts by hand. They do all of those things. They they post it now on their social media. They'll do videos about it. Still, some people, it's just 7 days, right? So today we're gonna get into the 7 principles, what they mean, and how we can use these principles and embrace them, integrate them into our everyday lives, which we should be doing anyway, right? But how we can do it for those of us who are not, those of us who don't know how, who just may need a reminder or a little boost, some guidance. We're going to talk about how and how, as Black people, if we embrace these 7 principles, it could be the foundation for Black liberation. But the beautiful thing about it is that not only the foundation for Black liberation, but the foundation for human liberation. If people generally can embrace these principles, right, it could be the foundation for human liberation, and we could almost instantaneously put ourselves in a better position as a human family, right? Sharing this planet at this time together. Sefu Senko for peace and love, my brother. Mona Love, what's going on? Happy, happy, solid and soulful Sunday, my love. Habari Gani, Ujima, collective work and responsibility. Yes, and so before we get into it, we are going to burn some sage. We got some blue sage today that we are burning, and we're going to say a prayer. Burn some blue sage. And for today, on this Sunday morning, this third day of Kwanzaa Ujima, collective worker responsibility, I want to pray for just that. I want to pray that we, as Black people and as humans in general, that we understand that we are in this together. I pray that every person who hears this message, who hears this prayer, feels like they are responsible for their brother, for their sister, for their mother, for their father. I pray that every person who hears this prayer, who hears these words, understands that their brother is responsible for them. I pray that each of us, all of us, remember that we are in this together. Remember that although we are individuals, we are still linked in a chain, united together by blood, by space, by time, by bond, by earth, by mother, by spirit. I pray that each person that hears this voice has the courage to stand up for their brother and their sister, even if it means sometimes going against the desires of their brother and their sister, in a way that is filled with love, of course, in a way that is peaceful, of course. I pray that each person who hears this message remembers a time when we were united, a time when we did see our brothers' problems and our sisters' problems as our own. And I pray that not only do we remember that time, but we rekindle that flame that makes us family. Hmm. And that's my prayer for this morning. That is the words that I put out into the universe. And I hope that everyone who hears those words, who hears these words, who hears this prayer, feels it in their heart and embraces this message. I share. So it is. Kwanzaa. Happy Kwanzaa. Listen, I am no stranger to the, I guess, controversy that surrounds Kwanzaa, specifically around the brother who started it, right? Everybody has something to say. Uh, However, I've never personally got into all of that because something I learned as a young boy, my uncle shared something so profound with me, so simple when I look back, but so profound at the time. And I didn't get it at the time, right? A lot of times you hear messages and you're like, yeah, get out of here, especially from who was coming from my uncle who used to smoke crack, my uncle who was at the time a jailbird, right? My uncle who was like far gone in so many ways, right? Told me one day in Southside Jamaica, Queens, might have been 12, 13, getting in trouble, right? Already like, in the streets. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but I remember we was in front of my grandfather's house and uncle came up and, he's looking all dirty and, he's looking like how he was looking. All right. Someone who was getting high on crack and in the streets, right? And I don't know if my grandfather or somebody told him I was in trouble or something, but he came up and I'm sitting in front of the house and I don't know if I was eating or drinking, but I was doing something in front of the house and I had like a bag next to me and he came, moved the bag, sat down, and he started talking. And I got up and I moved and because he stunk a little bit. And he said something. I was like, yo, man, you can't tell me what to do. Like, look at you. And he was like, yo, listen, pay attention to the message, not the messenger. Pay attention to the message, not the messenger. And he said some other stuff, and I like tuned it out after that. Right, I like blocked out what he was saying, and he talked for a couple of minutes. He raised his voice a little bit. Ray Sean, you need to listen, and all of that stuff. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Like I didn't like leave, but like I was like, man, I'm staying over here. Um, and that's a message that I remember, like that he gave me that, and that's something that I fully embody now. Listen to the message, not the messenger. And so when we talk about Kwanzaa and we talk about the founder of Kwanzaa, pay attention to the message, not the messenger. You could be, oh, he did this and he was with those people. And what is the message? The message is 7 principles that are geared to liberate black people, that are geared to give black people culture, that are geared to give black people something to embrace, to embody, to celebrate, to remember who we are, what our roles are, right? What our role is as black people, to our individual selves and to each other black people, and our position to the rest of humanity, right? Um, so since then, as I've grown, as I've lived life, as I've been someone who did not embrace these principles, right? Someone who did not acknowledge Kwanzaa as a thing, someone who was extremely self-centered, someone who was extremely, destructive to self, family, and community, right? Who lived a destructive life, who embraced destructive behaviors from drug dealing to physical violence. As someone who came from that place, that space, to someone who now lives a life completely opposite, right? Like, I don't want to hurt my brothers or my sisters, right? I don't want to destroy my community with drugs, right? I don't want to do anything to harm us as black people, let alone the rest of humanity, right? And these are 7 principles that I like to think I embody regularly, right? Personally. And clearly there are many others who embody these 7 principles regularly, not just during Kwanzaa, right? Again, there are people who go all out to get the what is it, the Kanara? the Kanara, right? Some 7 people who get the Kanara, they get the 7 candles, right? They do it every day, they light it, they get their children again, they got the clothing, the African clothing, all of the stuff. They had all of the events, they got the coloring books, they got the flags, they got all of the stuff. But the rest of the year, this is not a daily practice, right? Your problem is your problem. I gotta mind my business and worry about mine. And you know what I mean? I'm struggling too. Everybody got problems and all of the stuff, right? Like you gotta figure it out on your own and all of that stuff. And they have no faith. They don't know their purpose, right? Like all of the things, right? They follow other people's ideals for them, right? Like, and I wholeheartedly believe that if we could find ways to teach these 7 principles throughout the year in schools, um, through our podcasts and talk shows, and through all our programs and initiatives, we could figure out a way to weave these principles in, right? And again, some people are doing a great job at it, right? I like to think, we're in a complex position because we're in some ways, worse position than we've ever been in. In some ways, we're in the best position we've ever been in, depending on who you ask and depending on what angle you look from, right? What lens you look through. But I believe that if we embrace these 7 principles, we liberate not just Black people, but we liberate humanity. All right. And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to get into the 7 principles now. So 7 principles of Kwanzaa, right? First one, foundational, Umoja, right? Which was the 26th of December, day after Christmas, right? Unity, to strive for and maintain unity in a family, community, nation, and race. That is one thing I love about Kimona, right? She strives to maintain unity in her family. That is the most important thing, right? There are some people who strive to maintain unity amongst their community, but not their family, right? Some people who strive to maintain unity amongst their race, but not their family, not their community, not their immediate surroundings, right? And yes, it's possible, right? You can do it, but it's like sometimes it's counterproductive. Sometimes I like to say, I like to sometimes quote unquote call a spade, as the old folks will say. Some of those people are full of crap, right? Oh yeah, I love all Black people, and we need to be united, right? And mind you, these principles go deeper than just words. It's not just about what you say. It's what are your actions? What are your daily actions? How are you interacting with your people on a daily basis? And a lot of people are full of it, right? But umoja, extremely important to maintain, to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. I like to think that striving for and maintaining unity means that even though there may be some differences, difference in diet, right? Difference in our fashion taste, right? Difference in our music taste, difference in our economic statuses, right? Difference, even, and this is where it gets tough though, where it starts getting really tough when we talk about difference in religion. Some Black people are Muslim, some Black people are Christian, some Black people are Buddhist, some Black people consider themselves atheists, some Black people embrace it all. I think we still can be united, right? I think that even though we have those religious differences, we can still be united. However, humans, right, as a human family, and then of course as Black people, we have this us versus them mentality, right? So I think we need to find ways to break that us versus them. You, it's unity. How do we maintain unity? How can we have some small sects, some small groups that embrace a certain lifestyle, a certain way of being, and others who embrace a different way of being? Can we still unite? And I think a lot of times that could fall under politics, right? Because politics, right? The cost of living, the roads, the schools, right? Groceries, right? Healthcare, all of those things don't really matter, really, with you Christian or you Muslim or you Buddhist, right? If you live in a certain area and you make a certain amount of money, it's gonna impact you. Again, this is where it gets tough because people like, well, I elevated out of that, right? I don't live in that neighborhood no more. I ain't in poverty no more, right? I ain't got no health issues no more. So like that's your problem. And it's like, nah, man, like, Come on, like, all right, that's when we come to today, which is the third day, right? We can get into, but that's collective work and responsibility. But unity is extremely important, right? Unity is extremely important, and it has proven to be extremely difficult to establish unity, right? Amongst people because we got some differences. Sage is burning strong. Hold on, let me try to it'll burn. I love it. The blue sage burns really well. Um, but yeah, unity is necessary, but it's proven to be extremely tough to establish unity. But this is what we strive for: figure out how do we come together, how do we work together, how do we build a collective front in spite of our personal differences, right? Our differences that we have in our small groups, right? Because it's a larger thing again. Family unity, right? First and foremost, then communal unity, then national unity, right? In the nation, then racial unity. Extremely important. But then the second is Kuji Jagalia, right? Which was yesterday. Self-determination to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. I like to think that as important as Umoja is, I mean, all of them are important, right? Like as we go down to the seventh one could be seen as the most important, right? As important as all of them are, as important as they are. Kuja Jagalia is probably my personal like favorite, right? To name yourself, to define yourself, like this is who I am, like this is who I am. This is the name that I'm going by. And I love that black people have done that. Right? Like, yeah, I was born with this name. My parents didn't know. So they gave me this European name. Right? But no, I'm naming my mother effing self. And this is who I am. This is what I go by now. I've done that. Right? Like Sugar Ray, man. Like this is who I am. I'm World Healer. Right? I'm Blue Sage Ali. Like this is who I am. And not just like as a joke, right? Not just even sometimes it could be as rebellion, like, no, that's not who I am. I'm not. But sometimes just as like, this is really who I am, right? This is my life's purpose. In this name, this life purpose is reflected in this name. So call me this, right? I think that's extremely, extremely powerful to create for ourselves and to speak for ourselves, right? And again, this is why unity is important, right? So I love the first two because when we speak about the ability to speak for ourselves, right? Is as individuals, yes, but as black people, we need to be united, right? Because we got to speak for ourselves politically. We got to be able to speak for ourselves economically, right? We got to be able to speak for ourselves when it comes to law, when it comes to the judicial system, right? The criminal justice system, when it comes to all of these different systems, the health system, we gotta be able to speak for ourselves and understand. I took a class a couple years back, right? My man Born Born Mastermind of Law gave a class on black biology at the Harlem School in Mecca, right? Uptown Harlem, the law school in Mecca, the Nation of Gods and Earth, right? He gave a class on black biology, and this is like 2012, 2013. I took this class, right? 2014, like a year. And what I understood what I learned was that, and it makes perfect sense. A lot of people, right? It's always going to be discrepancies, and there's always going to be, people who doubt, right? Based on if they have the knowledge and they still don't believe it, or they don't have the knowledge and they're like, yeah, that's BS. But understanding that black people have a different biological makeup, right? People from Africa have a different biological makeup than people from Europe, and that's okay. And people from Europe have a different biological makeup. There's people from Asia, right? Like it's okay. Like based on where we are born, the time that we are born, the climate that we are born in, all of those things impact your biological makeup. And so yes, we are human beings, right? We are made equally sperm and egg, right? 9 months, give or take, right? Same things go into us, right? The same elements, yes, but it's always a different amount, right? It's always more or less of something, right? um, but yeah, it's extremely important to name ourselves, to speak for ourselves, to create for ourselves, right? We can create traditions, our own traditions as Black people. We don't got to follow everybody else's tradition. And too many times we do that. We do that, and we do that a lot of times is rooted in the lack of knowledge of what's available to us, the lack of historical knowledge of where we come from, of and sometimes it's just rebellion, right? Like you don't want to do what your parents did, or you don't want to do what your grandparents or great great grandparents did, and it's like then we fall, right? And that's when we're not united because we want to disconnect. We're like, well, that's what they did. I'm doing something different again, which is self determination. This is why these things need to be taught regularly because they're beautiful and complex at the same time, right? Because yes, it's like it is such a funny thing, right? Because we could say, yo, our forefathers, our foremothers, we had our own religion, right? We had our own language, right? We had our own ways of life that were stripped from us, right? And we were pretty much beat into following another way of life, right? Into speaking a different language, into embracing different daily practices, right? And so, all right, cool. I don't want to do what my great, 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 great grandparents did, right? 7, 8 generations. I don't want to do what they did, right? Because that led to this. And then in the same breath, we can say, yo, I don't want to do what my parents did because that led to this, right? And so, like, but I think it's important always. This is why the present is a gift because it's important to focus on now. Where are we now? What's our collective situation, right? Collectively, again, economically, educationally, health wise, right? In terms of ownership, where are we? Right? Where are we now as Black people? And are we in a space where the majority of us are thriving, the majority of us are healthy, the majority of us are educated to the point where we can fend for ourselves, where we can defend and support our brother and our sister, raise our children? Are we in a space where collectively we are good? And if we're going to say no, right, then okay, we need to look at the systems that are in place, the traditions that we embrace that have led to this, right? And then we can say, you know what? I don't care what the rest of the world is doing. I don't care what they're doing over there. I don't care what they're saying we need to do. We could do for self because we're not happy with the position that we're in. And of course, the challenge with that is that there's always going to be some people who are going to say, well, I made it. Well, we made it going this way, right? So, like, what's your problem? The problem is that the majority of us have not. And the majority of us, this, whatever that system is, doesn't sit well with us. So we're going to do something different, right? We're going to define ourselves and say, okay, this is the direction we're going in now. We was going this direction. Some of us may still be, but collectively, we got to move this way, right? Collectively, we got to like learn these skills again, right? Collectively, we got to like put our money over here, right? And we got to focus on this and we got to embrace these daily practices, right? Maybe we got to pray more, right? Maybe people are used to only praying in the morning during meals, right? But say, okay, no, we got to pray. Praying got to be a way of life. You know what? That's not enough. Meditation. We got to, include meditation in our daily practices, right? And we got to exercise more, right? Whatever it is, from the complex to the simple, right? Self-determination, extremely important to define ourselves, name ourselves, create for ourselves, and speak for ourselves. Second day. Then we come to today. Third day. Third day is always a beautiful day, right? 3 is the most sacred number there is. Collective work and responsibility to build and maintain our community together, and to make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems and to solve them together. I mean, I think a lot of us fail at all of these principles, right? Like drastic failure. So individualistic. Like this is one that we fail at like big time. Collective work. Your problem is your problem. You got to figure that out on your own. I got my own problem. I believe wholeheartedly that I got problems, you got problems. They could be similar, they could be very different. But if I take time to help you solve your problem, and you take time to help me solve my problem, we can solve our problems together in less time than trying to do it alone and with less effort. Because the beautiful thing about humanity, the beautiful thing about people is that we have different strong suits, right? We can have some things that we are great at, similarly, right? Like I'm great at this, I'm a great writer, you're a great writer, right? Cool. But you could be way better at, way more financially literate than I can. I can be way better at dealing with grief and loss and transition than you can. If we took time to work together and to share our strengths, right? Your problem, cool. We're gonna take time to solve your problem. My problem, cool. We're gonna take time to solve my problem. We solve our problems faster in less time and with less effort. But that is not the American way. The American way is be all that you can be, focus on you, and you gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta get yours. And that has been to our detriment. That has been to our destruction. That has been um, a major problem in the Black community, right? Is our lack of collective working responsibility, our lack of seeing our sisters' problems as our problems, our brothers' problems as our problems. All right, I spoke about it on SR Daily the other day, right? It was like, there's a whole and people are still I made a comment on Instagram, right? Somebody made a post. I think this post I commented on was Waka Flocka's video. Somebody shared this video where he was talking about, past a certain point, past a certain age, as an individual, it's no more excuses, right? You can't blame your parents, you can't blame the environment, you can't blame society, you can't blame the government, you can't blame the white man, you can't blame anybody else but yourself for your problems. And my position was, I understand what the post is saying. I understand what the brother is saying. However, I disagree because I understand how systems, I understand how community, like your environment, can impact you, right? And yes, clearly there are some people who, despite the environment, despite all of the challenges, they have a mental makeup, right? They have a brain that functions in a way where they still elevate. But there are a lot of people who don't, which is why we have the problem that we have, right? And people are, some people were, most people were agreeing with me, right? Who saw my comment, right? Yo, I feel like, yeah, this is it. Some people disagree, right? Cool. Some people like, no, it's individual because you can't, da da da. And I'm like, yeah, like when you don't understand what the person's saying, I absolutely do understand what the person is saying. And then there was the most recent comment when his brother, who actually followed me, um, said it perfectly. He specifically said, "Yo, if you haven't been through certain things, you will not understand." Right? He said, "Yo, I've been in prison twice. Right? Born and raised in the Bronx. Right? Poor neighborhood. Yes, I figured it out, but how long did it take? And I will never, and this is where we 100% agree, I will never blame someone who doesn't figure it out. I would never say, well, I did it, you could do it too. I don't know what your brain function is like. I don't know what your brain structure is like. I don't know what your mental makeup is like. I don't know what trauma you experience, right? Right? I said trauma lives in the body, right? And it lives in the brain, right? It lives in the mind as well, right? Which is like a whole nother thing. Your consciousness, everything impacts you. And so um yeah, it's just is yes, individuals have a responsibility to make better choices, right? To make better decisions so that they can have better outcomes for their own personal life. And community plays a big role in that. And we have to build better systems that foster better human development, right? That is the role of the whole community, right? Those who quote unquote made it out, those who quote unquote survived the struggle, survived the street life, and got to figure out how do we collectively work, right, to ensure that our brothers and our sisters do not keep falling victim to these traps. As my brother Raymond would say, these pitfalls, right? How do we make that happen? Because, like, again, if you never fell victim to the pitfalls, then you may not understand. But if you fell victim to the pitfalls, right, and if you really, really, truly love your brother and your sister, you are not going to say, well, that's your problem. You got to figure it out. You just got to make better choices. You're going to understand why so many people continuously make the same choices that are detrimental to their own life, let alone the community, let alone the family, putting themselves in a position that they don't like, that they don't want to be in. Addiction is real. Addictive behaviors, addictive lifestyle is real. Mental health challenges are real. And we know that there are so many people in our communities who have mental health challenges and mental illness that are not diagnosed. And we know even the people who have been diagnosed with different mental illnesses don't get the care and support that they need, right? They do not get the care and support that they need. We know that even if they're taking their medicine is chemical change in the brain, right? It creates a chemical change. Chemical change is the least effective way to change the brain. The most effective way is structural change, it's functional change. And that comes with practice, that comes with repetition, that comes with visualization, that comes with community, that comes with support, like real support, physical support, hands-on support. And we know that our people, the majority of our people who have mental health challenges and mental illnesses, those that are diagnosed and undiagnosed, do not have the day-to-day support that they need to restructure, right, their brain and put their brain in a different way where it could function differently. They may have the daily chemical support with daily medication, but that is the least effective way to change your brain. That is the least effective way to change your life is through medicine. And we see it, right? We see it through our street drug addiction, right? Like alcohol is the least effective way, right, to create the outcome that you desire. So the collective has to be involved, right? The family has to be involved. And some people need more support than others. Some people you could give them a physical paper and say, "Here, read this every day. Check in once a week." Right? Some people you gotta say, "Listen, I'm gonna hold your hand." Collective work and responsibility. My brother's problems are my problems. My sister's problems are my problems. And I hope that my problems are their problems. And so some people you got to walk with every day, right? And mind you, I struggle with that, right? My brother used to be like, "Yo, you got to wake me up. Like you talk about workout, you talk about you want to do this work, you got to get me up in the morning." I'm like, "Yo, bro, like you got to get yourself up, right?" Like, so I get it because it's like, you making an inconvenience. However, how much do we love our brothers and our sisters, right? Are we willing to sacrifice some of our time, some of our energy? Are we willing sometimes to be frustrated enough to where we gotta like really like physically go get our brother, go get our sister, and take them over here? Sometimes you gotta do that, right? Sometimes you gotta do that, and again, it's tough. It's very, very, very tough. It's very tough. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy mindset. It's not an easy lifestyle to embrace. Collective working responsibility, but it is of the utmost importance to make your brother and your sister's problems, your biological brother, your biological sister, right? And your sister by bond, right? By race, right? Your brother by race, by nation. Cause we in this together, right? Cause we in this together. I like is a saying. It's like, oh snap, what? Oh man, I don't know why this thing keep happening. Okay, I just realized there was a challenge streaming. Um, but all good. Sorry. Um, but yeah. Right, collective work responsibility. My problems, your problems, your problems, and my problems. I think that if we sacrifice a little bit of our own individual desires, our own individual some time, some energy, right? We could make make strides a lot quicker, right? But let's move right along to the fourth day, right? The fourth day tomorrow is Ujama, cooperative economics, and this is where it can kind of get real fun, right? This is where it kind of get real fun. And again, tricky, right? Because money. When you talk about money, people are like, don't. What they said, don't mix. Blood and money don't mix, and it's like, mm, it does. I saw a brother in Harlem the other day, Kels Barnett, and I actually need to interview him one day because Kels Barnett is an incredible black man, incredible black dude, and he has a store, Harlem Haberdashery, and they have him and his family, right, run the business. They have their own liquor brand. They have their own. They have a lot. They have a lot. Again, they have the store. They have the liquor brand. I believe they have real estate. Like every year, they post a picture, family photo, and there's like 8 of them, 9 of them, right? Brothers, sisters, cousins, um, and they're all doing this thing together. And I love it. I love whenever they put something out and I'm reading it. I love reading the success of the business. They come together. They do something. They do Harlem Ball every year. They do a give back community building thing. Take care of Harlem. And I love reading like who like when they put out this cousin did that, this family member did that, they had this role, and like they work together. I love reading that shit, man, because like it's really a beautiful freaking thing. Collective, cooperative economics to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together. To see one family do that, right? One blood family, they are blood related, do that is incredible. Then we have other examples, right? We have other examples. Um, they may not be in term of like stores, right, or shops, but like one thing I think a lot of us recognize is um and this is getting into entertainment, but we talk about the Wayans brothers, right, and the Wayans sisters, the Wayans family, right? We talk about how they put each other on, right, and how they work together. Beautiful freaking thing, right? And there's many other examples, and they are real life examples in our neighborhoods, but we need more. 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 Cooperative economics to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses and to profit from them together. What can we build together? How can my skills and your skills create a business together, right? Service based, product based. What can we build together? Physical store, right? I know it's online shopping has grown and is going to continue to grow, right? An online shop, right? What can we do together? How can we put our resources together, our minds together, our money together, right, to create something that we can both profit from together? One of the challenges, right? That it's first is a beautiful thing to do, right? It's a beautiful thing to do. One of the challenges is that some people, and this is why education matters. This is why all the other steps matter first, right? Like in talking, communication is extremely important because some people, um, what I've learned, what I've experienced is some people have the disease, you can call it, of instant gratification. They want to profit. They want their money back double, triple immediately. I want my money back tomorrow. If I invest in this thing, I need to make money tomorrow. And it's like sometimes it don't. There are some businesses where some ventures where you can make money every day, and you can see your profit really quickly. There are some that take a little bit of time, 6 months, a year, right, year and a half, 2 years, right? But this is collective work responsibility. We're working together at it, right? It's not like you're investing in my thing, all right? And like I'm going out and like, no, we work together. We work together. And again, different strengths. Some there may be, let's say there's a group of 3 people who are invested in a business together, invested in a venture together. There may be one of those 3 people, maybe day-to-day operations. They may be doing a day-to-day business, they're handling day-to-day. One person may weekly, right? One person may every couple of months, right? Like, but communication is extremely important. And again, it's obviously possible, right? It's obviously necessary. There are many examples of families and individuals in our community who are working together, right? One of the ancient ways that we have done this, right, which is simple, but again, a lot of people got different mindsets. Is through susus, right? Our community we have historically put money into susus. We put $50 a week, right? $100 a week, 10 of us, and at the end of the month, one person gets the money, right? Then you keep going, you keep going, you keep going. It takes trust, right? It takes loyalty, right? It takes integrity, because what has happened, I've seen, right? Unfortunately, is that, well, 2 things happen. One thing is the thing that's uncontrollable, where some person may lose their source of income, right? Something may happen in their life where they're not able to invest the same amount of money. They lose their job, They something comes up with their children, with their parent, with their spouse, with them health wise, where it takes a little bit more money and they're not able to, right? Then the other part is more about character, where a person gets their return, they get their right money, and then they leave out. They leave out. That speaks to the problem of Ujima, right? Collective work responsibility, right? It's all about self. That speaks to the problem of unity. It's all about me, right? It's all about me. I got to get mine, and then I'm out. I'm staying in. I'm staying as only as long as it takes for me to get my benefit, and then I'm out. But this is why, again, the education matters, the communication matters, the looking in each other's eyes, and really like, what do you like? Do you want to do this thing, and why do you want to do it? Right? What is your why? Your why, extremely important, right? Why are you here? What do you want to build, right? And do you see the long term impact of this thing? And again, there are people doing it. We see um, before COVID and even since COVID, there are people who have come together who have bought like families. I think it was like 8 families, 8 black families came together and bought land in Georgia, right? They bought acres in Georgia, and they're gonna build a community, right? I think the brother Julian Gordon got with some people. Julian Gordon has the multifamily home unit, multifamily home movement. I think he came together with some people, and they bought some land somewhere, I believe, in the Midwest, and they built a couple of multifamily homes, right? Um, what is it, like a cul-de-sac type thing? It's people doing it. It's people doing it, and it's a beautiful thing. And so again, like, we are in a good position. We have historical, right, examples. Most famously, Black Wall Street, and we've had multiple Black Wall Streets, right, in different places throughout the country. But like, it's been done, it's being done, and it can be done more. And so those of us who, myself, want to do it, just gotta figure it out, right? Figure out who you're gonna connect with, who you're gonna align with, what's the business gonna be, right? What's the venture gonna be, and let's go do the thing. All right, let's go do the thing. Ujama, cooperative economics to build and maintain our own stores, shops, and other businesses, and to profit from them together. Day 5. That's where it gets a little more interesting. All right, day 5. Day 5, Nia, purpose. That is my niece's name, Nia. All right, Ray's daughter. Right, I love the little girl. Just turned 16. No longer a little girl, right? A young lady now. 16 years old. Celebrated her 16th birthday back in October. Beautiful party, beautiful celebration. Nia. He named her that because purpose, right? To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. To make our collective vocation the building and developing of our community in order to restore our people to their traditional greatness. This is my life's mission. This is my life's mission. Our collective vocation, right? My collective vocation, right? My vocation, right? And like our collective, right? Like, what is our collective work? It has to be this, right? What is it rooted in? Art, education, media, health, um, and all of the things in between, right? All of the different aspects of education, the different components of art and health, right? Of economics, of finance, right? Of law, of real estate, right? Collectively, our job, collectively, our gig is to build and develop our community, right? Is to build and develop our community, to make our community, right? I remember years ago when I was, I guess you could say I don't know the word. I was really focused on, in a different way, right? It was a different focus, but I was really focused on, making America black again, right? Like, make America black again. And we were figuring out how do black people gain more power in this country. And I was like, okay, you take a city, right? Politically, right? You got to get some political weight in that city, and then property, right? So real estate, you got to get some property in that city, right? And if we gain property and we gain political weight in any city, we have a lot of influence with what goes on in that city, right? So we talk about making our community our community. We gotta own stuff, man. We gotta own shit. We go back to cooperative economics. We gotta own stuff. If we're not owners, we're renters and we're borrowers. And as long as we're renters and borrowers, then we don't have as much power as we could have and should have, right? And even though when I speak to Mona, I speak about like understanding home ownership, but understanding how many challenges come with that. And like for the most part of my life, I was, even though I've lived in houses and we've had houses, I've pretty much been okay with like renting, right? Because it's like, yeah, there you got to wait for the landlord, you got to wait for the super, right? But it's like, it's, and I guess this would come from not an impoverished mindset, but just as an adult, not having not reaching a certain amount of a certain economic level is like, nah, it's cheaper, right? It's cheaper to rent, right? Even if you're paying $3,000, $4,000 a month in rent, which some people are, it can come out cheaper in the long run because all the other things that, as a homeowner, the other expenses that may come with that, that do come with that, right? But it's more expensive to be an owner because there's more power in ownership, right? And that's something that I remind myself of. And so we gotta own shit, man. We gotta own shit. We gotta own shit. We gotta own things. We have to. That's the way to your liberation. Like for yourself, for your family, small immediate family, right? Even if you got a lot of family, right? You got 10 siblings, 12 siblings, right? You got 90 cousins. My boy Kenny got fucking 200, 300 cousins he traced back to, like living cousins. Like, holy cow, it's a huge family, all right? But we have those, right? So your family, your community, the nation and race. If we want power, right? If we want to be able to like live freely, right, and be liberated, we gotta own things. That gotta be a self-determination. We are owners in our neighborhood. We own the stores, we own where we live, we own where our children go to school, right, where they're educated. We own the clinics, right? Like all of it, the grocery stores, right, where we're getting our food from, right? And not just the grocery stores, but we're connected to the farmers, right? One thing I love about Black Sea Brothers, the watermelon um brothers up in Harlem, right? They said they get their stuff from black farmers. They get their watermelons from black farmers in the South exclusively. I'm like, yo, that's freaking dope. As you should, right? As you freaking should. So again, there are people doing it now in various different ways, and more of us just need to add on to what's happening, figure out how to create something new, right? One thing though that I'm always, I guess, not always, but one thing I like to preach or I like to say, I like to talk about is you ain't got to reinvent the wheel, right? If it's something out there, you don't got to create something new. You can add on. Now, clearly, again, it's tough because when you want to add on, you may have different ideas, and the person who's the owner already of whatever that thing is, they may not want to like welcome your ideas. This is where now it's a decision, right? Yes, you want to be heard. Yes, you want to be valued, and yes, you should be valued. Are your ideas because of ego and you just want to be the one to run things, right? Or can your ideas really improve a system? Because if it's about ego, you can swallow your freaking pride and still add on, right? If it's about improving the system, if this person doesn't want to embrace your ideas, doesn't think your ideas are beneficial, then you got to go the hard route then and maybe start something new, right? And that's okay. Either way is okay though, but it's very important, I think, that we remember that we all don't have to start something, right? We can join another organization, we can join another company, right? And add on. Again, the tough thing is that, and I've been someone who was part of organizations, all right, and wanted to add on, and my voice wasn't respected, right? And so, okay, cool, I'm not welcome here, right? So I gotta go somewhere else and build my own thing ultimately. Right, we go to the sixth day. We are coming to the seventh day and the seven principles. And again, if we could embrace these and live these every single day, thinking about, figuring out, right, talking about, and actually doing the work, right, of all of these principles, that's how we make life better for us. That's how we liberate ourselves and put ourselves completely different position economically, and in all of the ways, right? Kumba, creativity, to do always as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. To do always as much as we can. This is my, again, I said like Kuchi Jagalia, but like Kumba, because like as a Pisces, I'm a creative spirit. I'm a creative genius, right? To always do as much as we can in the way we can in order to leave our community more beautiful and beneficial than we inherited it. Do not leave the world the same way that you found it. Do not leave your neighborhood the same way that you found it. Do not be born and raised in the neighborhood and leave that neighborhood in the same position or worse position than you found it. That's where the rest of the principles come into play, right? Because we're like, yo, I made it. I'm out financially. I'm good. I'm leaving. It's like, did you make the neighborhood better? Nah, that ain't my responsibility. No, it is. If not you, who? If it's not your responsibility, whose responsibility is it? Those people who, like fellow black people, they supposed to take the responsibility of like your nephews, your nieces, your children created a problem, helped create a problem, and we're supposed to fix it, but not you. Oh, your nephews, your nieces, your children didn't create the problem. Who created the problem? Your parents? Your siblings? Who? Because like we got this problem. How did this problem come to be? We created it. And it's okay to be like, we fucked up. And we fuck up in different ways. We fuck up by what we do, and we fuck up by what we don't do. Right? We fuck up by what we don't do. And so whose responsibility? Their responsibility. White people's responsibility to fix your community? No, man, it's our responsibility. It's our responsibility, collective worker responsibility. We got a duty to do. We got a job, a duty to fulfill, a job to do. My brother Eddie Kruger. Eddie Kruger is from Houston. Eddie Kruger lives in Brooklyn. Eddie Kruger came last Sunday to Queensbridge for the 11:11 meditation in the park. As he walked on my block, right? And yeah, it's just different. And that's why it's beautiful to have different people around you. As we walk on my block, I'm walking in the building. Eddie Kruger sees a um snack package thing on the floor, on the ground. He picks it up and go puts it in the trash. Like collective working responsibility. Right. That's something that he believes strongly in, like not littering in the neighborhood. And I don't litter. I don't always pick up other people's trash. Right. And again, when I speak about these principles, that I'm never as absolving myself saying that I can't do better. I absolutely can. Right? I can do more. I can clean more trash in my neighborhood. It's dog shit. I ain't gotta always complain about the dog shit. I can find some time, all right, a day a week, whatever it is, to like walk through my fucking neighborhood and like clean up the dog shit. All right. Because this is what happens. Right? Collective work responsibility. And I forgot it's a bias, right, that happens where everybody walks by it waiting for the other person to do it. Now clearly the person who's dog shitted should be the one to pick up the dog shit, right? The person who has the dog, who's dog shitted, should be the person to pick up the dog shit. However, we know that there are people who have dogs, their own dogs, or the dogs of their family. They're like, I'm not picking up dog shit. I walk the dog, I ain't picking up the dog shit, right? It's a conflict in itself. However, if we live in a neighborhood and we keep seeing it on the same block, the same kind of shit, we probably know that it's the same dog. One thing, we could obviously talk to the person. That could yield some good, right? Express the concern, express the desire, never coming at it from a perspective of like, you have to, you have to, you have to, but like finding a way to speak about, just community and cleanliness and the community we want to create, right? But if that person is not picking up their dog shit, and if a lot of people, which it's a lot of people in Queensbridge, in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in every neighborhood, every borough that are not picking up dog shit, there has to be some people to pick up the dog shit. So we need more neighborhood cleanups, right? Where that's something that we do collectively because we understand like these people ain't doing it, right? Our people are not doing it. And so we do it. And I like to think, I believe wholeheartedly that if we do it, when we do things like that, you do it long enough and you put the right messaging out there, messages of love and of communal impact and community desire and vision, eventually, maybe not everybody, but more people will start picking up their own dog shit. right? I believe that. All right. So creatively, man, it's a creative way, right? It's a creative way to work collectively and to share collective responsibility, right? And to determine for self and to be united in a way, even when we're not actually working together, but some of us are. And the seventh and final principle, imani. Faith, to believe with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle. Faith, to believe with all our heart, to believe with all of your heart, and really to know, right? To believe in our heart, with all our heart in our people, our parents, our teachers, our leaders, and the righteousness and victory of our struggle, to believe that we will win. We have a duty to win. We will win. We have nothing to lose but our change. We will win. We will succeed. You have to know that. You have to know that as black people, as divine people, we will win. We will be victorious, right? The struggle is not for nothing. All right. Our creator has not brought us this way, has not brought us this far to let us down now. But we got to embrace these seven principles. We got seven principles before us that if we embrace every single day, if every day we took the position that my brother's problems are my problems, my sister's problems are my problems. Every day we determine for ourselves. I'm naming for ourselves. We are. I am, and we are. Right. Educating our children. Right. We are working together. Right. Like we are creating. We're using our creative genes. We are using our intelligence. Right. We're using our abilities in all of the different aspects of life, right? We are purposeful, right? Like our collective vocation, we are putting our money together, we are pooling our resources, right? If we embrace this every day with the faith that it will yield fruit that we desire, that is beneficial, there's no way we could lose. There's no way we could lose. There may be challenges and setbacks initially, immediately, but we will win. And we have to have that faith in ourselves, in each other, right? And in our divine purpose and mission. And with those seven principles, man, I believe that that's the foundation to Black liberation and human liberation, right? So that's our talk for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in, man. Let me go check. We got some comments over here that I know I saw and missed. A model is always the confirmation of truth, said Fusen Kofa. Ideas need to be examined critically, their origin and intentions. Mona Love says that Fusen Kofa. Trust and belief is built through modeling and behavior. Actions speak louder than words ever will. A great documentary that addresses the power of Susus is The Windrush Years. It addresses how the Caribbean community in Europe thrived under racism. The weekly grievance support at Queensbridge addresses all of the seven principles. Absolutely. Mona had put the 7 days. Yes, yes, yes. Umoja, Kujagalia, Ujima, Ujama, Nia, Kumba, and creativity in Imani. Yes, 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 yes. Family, let's get into a meditation. We took the show to the minute exactly, which is a beautiful thing. Yo, Javon, the Circle Keeper, what's going on, my brother? Peace and love. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, these seven principles, man. I believe that we're gonna be all right. Right? We got great people in our midst, great people who are teaching, great people who are leading by example, who are embodying these seven principles. Mona Love does, Sefu Sankofa does, Javon does, and a few other people on this live embody these principles every day. As long as we just keep doing the work, right? Again, maybe not immediately, but indefinitely, right? Eventually. But if you are laying, just lay in a comfortable position. If you are sitting, allow your feet to rest firmly on the floor beneath you. Allow your back to be straightened by the chair behind you. Allow your arms to rest gently in your lap or by your side. Allow your head to lean forward so that your chin is in your chest. And allow your eyes to close ever so softly. And simply become aware of your breathing. Breathing from your abdomen in through your nose. Out through your nose. And as your breathing begins to settle at a steady pace, I want you simply to create an image of yourself right now in your mind. See yourself as you are, the clothing that you currently have on, the way your hair is, where you are, the space that you are in, the challenges that you are facing, the things in which you are excited about. In this moment, see yourself. And as you see yourself, simply remember that you are here today because of a long line of communal support, of familial support, from when you were a baby, being carried, being nursed, a parent, or uncle, or aunt, cousins, grandparents, friends, relatives, maybe your childhood, maybe in your infancy you were carried by strangers, but you were carried and you were nourished enough to survive. Someone saw your life as their responsibility. Someone saw your survival as their responsibility. Someone used their creativity to get you through. Someone had faith in you. Someone made their purpose your survival, your nourishment, your upbringing. Someone pulled their resources to make ends meet so that you can have food, so that you can have clothing, so that you can have shelter. And someone was connected with someone else just enough so that you could be here. To see how these 7 principles of Kwanzaa have been woven into your life every day of your life in some way by someone. Remember that you exist because they did. We exist because others did. It is our responsibility to ensure that others exist. Others will exist because of us. May we do our best. May we have the strength and conviction to lead with love, lead with faith, to be fearless in all our endeavors. Know that you are loved. Know that you are sacred. Know that you are cherished and you are adored. You are stronger than you think. You are more powerful than you know. And you are greater than you can ever imagine. I love you. I love you. I love you. Ashe. When you're ready, slowly begin to open your eyes, move your toes, move your fingers, give yourself a neck roll. Come back to the space. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Toke folks, my brothers, what's going on? Spliff Skinner, my brother, what's going on? Yo, listen, peace and love, family. Enjoy this Sunday. Enjoy this third day, Ujima. All right. Collective work responsibility. Embrace the principles. Liberate yourselves. Liberate yourself individually. Liberate your family. Liberate your community. If we work together, we can make all of our problems lighter. If we work together, we can make all of our dreams bigger and we can fulfill them all. Less time with less effort. So let's figure it out. Let's put our heads together, put our minds together, and let's do the damn thing. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. See you guys next Sunday. Episode, another episode of Sunday Light. Peace and love.